Welcome to our comprehensive guide on maximizing Charlotta's potential in Granblue Fantasy Reeling. Today we delve into the world of tank dream builds as we see where sustainability and reliance spell the difference between victory and defeat. Yada yada. Today we're getting into the Charlotta's build. Once again, you guys already know. Stout Heart, God build, Drain, Charlotta. Let's go. Let's get into it. So, this game has many characters, right? You have your actual people who look like tanks. You have your actual tank characters. I think like Veins and so on. No one would expect that a little midget would be one of the greatest tanks, or well, not tanks, but one of the greatest characters to abuse the Drain Stout Heart builds. And that's right, it's Charlotta. She is the greatest one to me in the Stout Heart Drain build meme category, right? So this, if you're like a speedrunner, you're looking for your sub 1 minute runs, I've tried, but it's very hard to maximize damage to that point while also keeping very tanky. But that's not relevant, as this is for like beginners, and I classify beginners as you've completed the story, you've unlocked, yeah, I would say you've unlocked Proud and you're actually starting the game, because online play is kind of irrelevant until Proud. So you're a beginner when you unlock Proud. You have your awakening, your ascension weapon actually awakened, and you're like, okay, how can I improve my Charlotta? I like to play her tanky, but what can I do? This is for you. So we're gonna be going over, I'm gonna show you guys the build, but let's go over some gameplay so you can understand the mechanics, right? Because as you can see here, apart from me yapping, you guys are getting a better understanding of how she actually plays, especially if you're just picking her up. Maybe you just rolled her terminus weapon and you're like, okay, I want to try out Charlotta, and I also think her Drain Tank build looks impressive, right, to try. This is the guide for you. Now let's get into her skills. Some of the main skills you guys are going to see me using is Onslaught and Sword of Luminal. Sword of Luminal you see me using less because you're kind of stuck in the animation stance when you're activating it, and if the bosses are hopping around every 2 seconds, there's no real point in using it off cooldown every time compared to some other skills. Now Onslaught off cooldown, Holy Ladder off cooldown, hell yeah, right? Honestly, you should be using your invincibility skill more, but especially if you're new and just starting out. But the more skill you become, the less you actually need the invincibility skill. Now Charlotta has a parry on her Y attack, that's her heavy attack, and if parried correctly, and assuming you have her character sigil, you get invincibility and 15 seconds of attack buff. Huge damage boost, huge survivability added, and all you need to do is just parry the freaking attack. Not to mention I think Charlotta has the most forgiving parry in the game, just because how much time you get where you can parry and where the parry actually counts versus when it doesn't count. Now, as you can see, like throughout this entire fight, I've fallen close to being taken down a lot, and then I just get a few minutes of breather. I either hop around, keep attacking, because that's how you're gonna heal up, right? You need to do damage to recover, and bear in mind, I'm using a very low drain level, but we'll get into this in the another fight. So right here, we're gonna get into the starting off mechanics for Charlotta. What you want to do is approach the enemies with your Y. So you Y, and she's gonna do a hop in the air. Then when you press your X or your square button, she's going to do the Beyblade spin onto them. You guys can see it right there again. See, right now I pop Luminial because why? The boss is not jumping around. This is not like one of the jumpy bosses, but he's also in his attacking sequence. So the Luminial was basically free and it does so much damage. Remember, this is not a damage capped build because it's not an endgame build. I don't have the skills to cap my damage, but I do have the skills to do some damage. So even though I don't have like a super optimal in-game build here, since this is for beginners, right, to Charlotta, you can still see how I'm doing tons of damage. I think I'm only using one or maybe two. No, I think I'm using one supplementary damage, which is also really good on her. Right here, I honestly could have you can Y. I think, yeah, you can Y parry that, right, for the invincible. Like right there I Y parried the what do you call the attack, the blast. Alright, so the relevant sections for this build, what you're going to be wanting to focus on as a new player is Stout Heart, her character Sigil Luster, damage cap, right? Supplementary damage is a nice bonus if you do have it. If you don't, it can be substituted for something else, such as another orange ability sigil. Just don't stack the orange sigil. So if you already have tyranny, stamina, combo booster, combo finisher, don't do like 2 times tyranny, 2 times stamina. It's just worse and a waste of a sigil slot when it reaches that point. Now back to the fight. Yeah, we pop the SBA right here, but that's really not relevant. You guys see, sometimes you're going to notice that I'm not dodge canceling the Holy Ladder. You can dodge cancel Holy Ladder to immediately get her finisher, which does a massive amount of damage. But I've found this out that when you let the Holy Ladder play out fully, it does a lot of stun damage. It does a lot of stun damage, and the heal is also very nice on it. So depending on your HP, depending on the distance, it really just depends on what your setup is at the moment. If you want to do a dodge cancel for the immediate finisher damage, or you want to let it play out and maybe heal some up, get the highest stun damage off, because it does have a high stun value to me. Right here we're slowed, so or we got the invincibility of. Another fun fact, Charlotta's invincibility makes her immune to CC, and I also think it gives you a Stout Heart. But I'll have to play with I've been playing with the Stout Heart from basically since the game started, so I don't even know how she feels without Stout Heart. I'll have to play without it to double check on that, really. But here we're just DPS, you're just spamming X or the square button for using PS5 controller. We're just spamming here, right here. My freaking UE gen is down, so I gotta revive him. You guys see the attack buff, right? Now look at the invincibility. It goes off, but the attack buff is still there. That's because it's 15 seconds. Now what you can do is pay attention to, you can, theoretically you can, if you're good enough, have permanent invincibility with Charlotta by just constantly parrying. It can be done, you just have to be good. So even if you don't have, like, that's something you can practice, and I think you should be practicing if you plan to main Charlotta. Practice her parry. I don't think it's talked about enough, but it's extremely important and relevant, especially if you're using her grandeur or her double character sigil. It's just so broken to me. And as you can see, using this build, even though it's not that damage relevant, the fights are so fast. You're doing constant. I think something that's important to be noted with Charlotta is that you need to be constantly doing damage. You want to be constantly hitting, and her kit sets her up for that. So the boss is moving back, you're hopping with him and keeping up your normal stance hits. You're hopping, you're hitting, you're hitting, you're hopping, you're hitting. He moves, you move and hit. He does his AoE, you jump in the air, the air and hit. He jumps, you jump with him. Like, Charlotta is means to stick and be loyal. Of course, until he goes into overdrive mode, and then you're like, I'm gonna find someone else to stick to and be loyal to. And that's what we do right here. So we pop invincibility because at this point in the fight, too many things are going on at once, and we don't have a 360 view of everything. So to not go down to random attacks that's outside of our camera view, we just pop the invincibility in this case. Right here, we're just DPS. Remember, I say constantly attack. If the enemy moves, you hit Y, then X, and that will dash her towards them. Lock on if you want to pinpoint who you're dashing toward with multiple enemies on the map. But yeah, just constantly keep attacking, keep moving with the enemy. Try not to drop out a normal stance like I am here a lot. Another thing too, there is a Y parry. As you can see, whenever, so it's easy to know when you're parrying if you have the character sigil. If you don't, it's harder because you don't have a buff indicator. But with the character sigil, it's incredibly easy for you guys to see when I'm parrying, because you see the invincibility icon along with the attack icon popping up on her. We're just like, we're right here. You guys see that he did his jump AoE attack, and we jump with him in the sky and parry. If you're not loyal to your enemy as Charlotta, you're playing her wrong. You want to be extremely loyal. Wherever they go, you go. And of course, you want to just heal back whatever irrelevant damage you get. Right there, it's always important, because another important thing is you can dodge out of all of Charlotta's skills, right? So if you're in a bad position and you start your skill animation, you can hit dodge to cancel it and reposition yourself. Don't be afraid to reposition and get a better spot to DPS freely. In those cases, it's not worth it to just have the skill go off and you go down. You can't DPS when you're irrelevant lying on the floor like that, right? So be sure to use your dodges, be sure to use your parry, be sure to use your invincibility. Like right here, we're surrounded by 3 guys. We don't even have to pay attention to anything because we popped invincibility, so we have the free reign of just constantly attacking. All the enemies come out of my range. I do the hop in the air, the square or X button, and immediately I gap close to them with my Beyblade spin. Right here we are in link mode, and this is where you in link mode, I think the best rotation is onslaught into luminial, onslaught auto, finisher, luminial, onslaught, finisher, luminial, finisher, onslaught. That's the rotation for 100% when you're in link time. And that's it, guys. Let me know how this video was for you. If it was helpful, be sure to subscribe, like, leave a comment. How is your Charlotta build? enjoying tank Charlotta? Are you not playing tank Charlotta? Are you playing stout hard drain with another character? Let me know. I'm always interested in finding these other tank build characters in this game.